Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters for day 4 of 4. It's the finals day. We're really looking forward to the semi-finals a little bit later on. But first, we have something very special for you. A first, actually, not only here at the IEM, but also at Comic-Con. We have a very special show match. It's an Intel Extreme Masters exhibition game brought to you by Intel Iris Pro Graphics. They are absolutely phenomenal laptops. We'll clue you up on a little bit about the laptops a little bit later on. But we have two great players to join us on the stage who are going to battle it out in this show match for honor, because it's nice to have honor occasionally. So please welcome to the stage our two players. They are deadly rivals. It's DeMusliM and TLO. Okay. I know how much you two hate each other, you know, rival clans, evil geniuses and Team Liquid. You know, you've gone to the dark side once already this year, and I know how much it means to you to take down DeMusliM.
Shows a lot about loyalty when you don't even wear the jersey, only the jacket.
And so it begins. What do you got to say for yourself, Ben?
I'll let the game do the talking.
The game is going to do the talking. TLO doesn't look impressed.
Well, I mean, if the game is going to do the talking, he's not going to be very eloquent, is he?
Oh, there it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give them a big cheer. DeMusliM versus TLO.
I'm so ready to go.
Okay, we'll let them get set up. Don't forget as well, we've got a little presentation at the end of this as well. And not the small matter of the semi-finals. After this match, we'll have a 15-minute break, and then we'll get into the semi-final of the Intel Extreme Masters here in New York City. It will, of course, be Naniwa going up against Hyun, and I'm pretty sure we've got some surprises for you in store. For now, though, we're going to go over to our commentary team. They're going to have a bit of fun with this one as well. Guys, enjoy.
Thank you, Red Eye. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nathanius. With me is Kalaris. We'll be covering this TVZ show match that we have going on here. A little bit of fun banter on the stage, Kalaris.
Yeah, the festivities kick off with our show match between TLO and DeMusliM here for the Intel Extreme Masters New York Finals Day, as we have those semis coming up afterwards. And then, of course, the grand final. But TLO and DeMusliM going to play a little bit of a friendly game. We're going to be on Whirlwind for this. And since it is a show match, I'm not really expecting a 6-pull, I'll be honest with you. That'd be a bit of a crappy show match, to be honest with you.
It'd be, you know, it's a very fast way to kill the hype of that exchange we had on the stage. But I feel like that it being a show match, we could get something very interesting from these players. We might see some crazy strategies. Goodness knows what they could pull out. DeMusliM, see him getting situated here.
I didn't realize his middle name was James. That's a fine middle name, if I do say so myself, Nathanius. As yeah, DeMuslim's getting geared up for this. Now, interestingly enough, we're actually playing this on special laptops that have actually been, have extremely strong specs. So that is exactly what these guys are going to be playing on here. And they're pretty cool laptops, actually. I just saw them in the back. TLOs look rather fine indeed. And then we have Dario Wunsch here, representing Germany, as well as Team Liquid.
Yeah, both of these players, like 23, very close in age, very close. I guess, you know, you have that Team Evil Geniuses thing going as well.
This is what you're going to focus on. They're both 23 years old, guys.
You know, sometimes you get that, you look at a matchup, if you have players like Hyun or Life playing, the age gap is pretty big. You don't want to lose to someone that's so much younger than you. I don't know.
Dude, I could see why that would hinder you. Like, I'm like 24 and this guy's like 16 and you just like kicked me ass. That'd be pretty difficult.
This is like a match of pride at this point. Like it's all coming down to this. We saw him fire those shots about the jersey, but we're getting the lobby set up here. How do you feel about this match?
Well, whenever I think of TLO doing a show match, I just think of something like Swarm Host play. That is generally what would come to my mind here. I mean, it's kind of difficult to make it work against Terran if he's going to like go bio or something like that. Biomine would be hard to shut down with that kind of play. But, you know, we don't know what DeMuslim's going to do. We don't know what he's going to be up to. You know, he could do anything he wants.
Yeah, especially on Whirlwind going Swarm Host. There's so many ways to just run around those. I mean, even players, I recall a game, DreamHack Summers, like Gumiho versus Jadongs. He went Swarm Host. He's able to still run Hellions around because there's so much space. He can go mech versus that. So that's the cool thing, I guess, is we could see any possible strategy come out here.
Well, we'll see now, as these players are going to get invited in just a little bit. We already have TLO in the lobby, just waiting for DeMusliM to join along as well for this show match. It's only a best of one. We're not doing a full best of 3 showcase here between these two players. So again, I'm expecting a little bit of a longer game, a little bit of fireworks, and maybe some special tactics. TLO is one of the guys that actually, just in general, has been one of the most innovative players at the start of expansions, I would like to say. Bringing interesting things like, we saw him in WCS Europe even go for Swarm Host drops versus Straylock's attempt at mech on things like Star Station, which was bizarre, but it worked really well.
it's always interesting to see the players pull out these rather wonky strategies. And I'm kind of wondering if DeMusliM, you know, he's one of those players that is kind of known almost by everybody for playing very standard, greedy styles. But in this show match scenario versus someone like TLO, I kind of want these guys to just go for absolutely crazy unit compositions.
Bonkers.
Yeah, just completely whack out. 4-star port Banshee, something absurd.
Yeah. I'm curious, actually, do Americans use the word bonkers? Or is that not something that comes into your repertoire too much?
I don't know. I've been hanging out with you guys too much this weekend.
Yeah, maybe you have. TLO was a better Terran than you.
That is...
That's pretty good. But no, yeah, bonkers is it. Bonkers is a good word, man. But anyway, we're going to be getting into this in just a little bit. I would love... Okay. This is a bit more of a little bit of a fun game, a little bit of a fun cast as well. What I would love to see, some attempt at DeMusliM being a Sky Terran. Just whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just some attempt at that. You know, maybe a lot of Banshees in there, first off. You know, with the Hellions at the beginning. Like we were seeing Flash do actually yesterday, but then somehow try and transition into that whilst, you know, holding something with Sea Shanks or something. I don't know. That'd be cool.
So you say that. I say my dream scenario for this game, as a show match, these two players being rather playful with each other. I like the Sky Terran. I want to see TLO throw Nidus Swarms all over the map. I want to see some crazy action. The map is huge. Whirlwind is one of those maps that kind of classically has a lot of space in the main base. Nidus plays used on this map more so than some of the other smaller ones. So, I mean, as uncommon as it is, it would be very nice to see that.
Yeah, that would. I would like to see Nidus Swarm play it. You don't see it actually too much nowadays, unfortunately. But whenever you do see it, I've seen it once or twice in ZVZ, actually. And it's actually done really, really well for itself. But now, again, we're just waiting to get into this first game here, guys, between these two fellows. I say we're waiting to get into this first game, but there's only one of them in this best of one show match between these two. And DeMusliM has joined the lobby. We'll be on with it in a second. But aside from this, we have a great day of StarCraft action on the way for you, as we have 2 fantastic semi-finals, which is like, what do we have? We have Life versus Curious, and we have Naniwa versus Hyun as our first one. And then the grand finals. Imagine if Naniwa goes all the way to that grand final, in a similar vein to what we saw him do at DreamHack when he lost out to Lenok in the end. Wow, that would be... Was it Lenok? Yeah, it was, I think. Yeah.
It would be incredible. I mean... And not just, you know, for the spectacle of seeing our only foreign player that managed to get through that top 16 stage, but also for himself, needs those WCS points. They're worth their weight in gold to him, their theoretical weight being points, but getting to BlizzCon is a big deal for Naniwa, and he really can't afford to lose any games.
I think someone broke it down, whereas if Naniwa like went out of this round, it would be difficult for him to get to BlizzCon. If he went out in the finals as second, it would be like 50-50 chance, and if he went to and won the whole thing, it would be like a 70% chance that he would go to BlizzCon. So, you know, just a little bit of number crunching there that was done very, very nicely by a gent on Team Liquid. Or, you know, there's numbers roundabouts. But it's important for a lot of foreign fans that Naniwa gets there. Being one of the only foreigners potentially to represent is a big deal there for Naniwa.
That's true. He's the only foreign player, non-Korean, that's in the top 16 running for WCS at BlizzCon. So it's gonna be pretty big. Of course, our other matches as well. I really like Hyun. He's brought a lot of flavor to this tournament. I think that's going to probably be one of the really big matches to look out for. Life versus Curious. I mean, that'll be good. It's ZVZ, always exciting, but both of them have actually put up really great ZVZ this tournament.
Oh yeah.
There's been a good amount of ZVZ. All the Terrans were eliminated rather early on. Last man standing was Flash, but Curious was able to take him out and Dongwegu as well.
How sad are you about all the Terrans being eliminated, Nathanius?
I'm quite sad,
You're
but
quite-
at least we have at least we have a Terran, we have a little Terran flavor for you guys that feel left out to kick things off. We're loading in to this map, DeMusliM versus TLO.
Awesome. Okay, show match here, guys. Best of one between DeMusliM and TLO to decide not a whole lot here at the Intel Extreme Masters New York.
Pride, guts, and glory.
Pride, guts, and glory. Liquid versus Evil Geniuses. As we get on to our game here between Liquid and Evil Geniuses, TLO versus DeMusliM. And we have, spawning up to the top left-hand corner, as our Red Zerg. Representing Team Liquid, as well as Germany, ladies and gentlemen, we have TLO.
Got a nice cross spawn set up on this map as well.
Oh yeah. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Terran representing Evil Geniuses, as well as a very fantastic country in Great Britain. He is DeMusliM. No bias whatsoever.
I wouldn't for a second think that you would have any affiliation with such a land.
No. Mr. Benjamin Baker. He's a rather fine chap. Actually, I'm kind of torn because I live in Germany now as well, so it's like, uh-oh.
So you have the dual bias.
Oh yeah. TLO is a rather charming fellow as well. You know, not only is Dario a charming fellow, he also has some rather cool brothers as well. So they are very cool. All right, well, here indeed we have our show match. And it's the first professional match here exhibited on the new Iris Pro graphics that we actually have. These guys are using the laptops provided to us by Intel with these graphics cards. And I'm curious to see, you know, like, what's the stability like on those? Very important for pro gamers. I know that they were very excited about, you know, using them to watch replays on travel and things like that. And that's something that a pro gamer really, really values, you know, when going to travels. You can't, spending time on an airplane and just, you know, being sat there for so long, really not doing too much is in essence, a waste of time. But if you're able to, like, watch replays and stuff like that on a plane so well, that's great.
Yeah, it's really nice just being able to have access to all of your StarCraft content as well.
Yeah.
It's so much of the traveling these players do. It's really funny because I was just hanging out with TLO about a week ago in Sweden. He was playing in the Battle of the Dome, a tournament for charity with the University Star League. So these players do travel a lot. They're all over the place, constantly competing. And so far, we have relatively safe openers from our players. Nothing unusual.
Yeah.
The Command Center first from DeMusliM, the Hatchery first from TLO.
I'll be honest, that's pretty much why I wasn't talking about it.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, whatever. But, I mean, aside from also, like, watching replays on planes and stuff like that, I say replays on planes because it's very difficult to play StarCraft on a plane, right? It's kind of difficult. But, you know, these laptops in general, they have the power to be able to, you know, set up at a hotel. Like, this is the perfect thing, because I use my gaming laptop for this all the time. You set up at a hotel, you just, like, plug in, you get going, and you can play StarCraft on the move. And I absolutely adore being able to do that. It's a real hindrance when you just sat at the hotel and you're like, right, what am I doing? Like, well, I'll go out for a drink. Okay, I could be playing StarCraft, though. Actually,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So I like StarCraft more times than not.
I have to say, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that other caster Todd I just spent. It's like, well, why go a party? I could just watch him play StarCraft.
Exactly, man.
That's what it's all about. But we have Overlord coming in. He's getting scouts. So TLO didn't go for anything like a very fast third hatchery. He hasn't gone for any extreme level of scouting.
Yeah.
We have a factory on the way for DeMusliM. So for very, very normal openings, you haven't seen anything crazy just yet. But it is cross-spawn Whirlwind. It's one of those maps where you don't want to take too much aggressive risks because of that large distance towards your opponent.
Yeah, we have a factory on the way here. So we'll just switch that up, get those Hellions out. And on a map like this, especially cross-positioned, having those Hellions is of the utmost importance. You want to control the map, right? You want to keep your opponent pinned back with that creep spread. And TLO has been renowned for some very, very strong creep spread indeed. He'll even send a Queen out into the middle of the map with a drone, make a hatchery, make a few creep tumors there, and make it really difficult for his opponent to deal with that creep spread if he's not careful. So that's something that DeMusliM want to keep on top of. And again, very, very important.
Yeah, and we have actually DeMusliM going for the fast third command center. This is one of his trademark things. He's really known for this, and he'd actually recently done a blog talking about how he kind of recognizes that when players look at DeMusliM, you see him as a very greedy player. But TLO not necessarily the cheesiest of players. He's not going to try to take advantage of this in any way other than just getting his third base up, playing rather greedily, pushing out lots of drones, and just getting these queens, as you stated earlier, to just force that creep spread out as early as possible.
Yeah, loving that. He's just getting that flourishing quite nicely. Only the third gas guys are being taken here now for TLO, so he's been playing relatively gasless, actually taking all 4 across these 2 bases. So a lot of tech going to be on the way here as both players do play that greedy style. The Hellions now moseying on out, and DeMuslim's one of those players that for the most part actually very rarely scouts early on with an SCV. So this Hellion movement out here, the reason he's sending all these everywhere is because he actually doesn't know where his opponent spawned yet. Even the Overlord wasn't revealed at that natural, so, well, or even if it was, he didn't actually know where he was anyway because of cross spawn. So this is DeMuslim trying to sneak out and find out where he is.
Yeah, I like this. And we even saw that lack of information, as you'd stated. He built a single Marauder back at home, wanted to make sure that if TLO was to try to bring any level of pressure with something like a fast roach timing, he'd have a little bit extra defense ready to help bolster that. And now he's moving into the double engineering base, just getting a very solid macro setup going.
Yeah, so we're going to see a bit of a bio play here from DeMuslim. TLO is going to try and push these Hellions away, and already transferring a few drones over to this third base. This can be a bit treacherous sometimes if these Hellions gather up in number, and actually they're going to try and poke on him, but the 4 queens leaving it nicely defended. And as long as the creep spread is good, he can go back to his natural, defend that location as well.
Yeah. I really like the way that he's just continuing to press these queens out. He's being very careful with this. Getting his lair now together. He has the 1-1 on the way as well. The upgrade's timed very similarly for both players. A rather late Zergling speed. He won't be able to do too much. With the creep spread, these Hellions can't do too much. He'll be able to spot them coming from far enough away that even with the slow Zerglings on top of the ramp, he can try to catch these. And DeMuslim pushing forward, trying to push this back just a little bit. His stim is coming in close. He's starting to add on additional barracks and getting the starport. These queens doing a great job of zoning away these Hellions.
And we're seeing from TLO the melee to carapace upgrades come out here. So there's not going to be any kind of mid-game focus of Roach Hydra play. It's going to be straight to Ling, Bane, Muta, and then from that point on, we may even see him transition onto the Hive, try and get out Infestors and Ultralisks, which is really, really fun actually to watch on this map because the middle is so wide open. If you're able to get a good surround on your opponent, it can work absolute wonders here for TLO.
Yeah, and then his lair is finishing up with the Baneling nest about halfway done as well. He'll be able to move very quickly into the Baneling speed, and with the creep, that upgrade really well complemented. Very difficult to maneuver Marines around on the creep with the Banelings having that speed upgrade. So the armory is on the way. Both players will be able to start their 2-2 upgrades as soon as their initial set's complete. We have a Spire coming in, and we kind of talked about crazy strategies. It looks like both players are going to play relatively standard.
Relatively, yeah.
TLO, though, really focusing on pressing this creep. I love the way he uses the Overlords to drop it outside. And Zerglings will try to come in and shove this third base, but he has more than enough to defend.
Yeah, that's not going to get too much done. Now, as a Terran player yourself, Nathanius, what are the openings here for DeMuslim? Does DeMuslim just have to start parade pushing? Can he go for drops? Where does he go from here?
Well, it's one of those difficult scenarios because TLO hasn't forced any heavy aggression. He's brought the Zerglings. It's more of a gut check to make sure that DeMuslim isn't being too greedy. As far as where DeMuslim wants to go, this is a great map for drops. One thing we can note is that there's not really that many Overlords spread out for TLO on the sides of the map. Spotting a drop leaving his base would be quite difficult, but he does sneak a few Zerglings into the natural expansion.
Nicely done. We'll get the surround on this bio, kill that off pretty quickly. 1-1 did finish for those, but as is 1-1 finished for these Zerglings. So very even in terms of the upgrades. The Zerglings will be able to hold their own. Need to get to those 2 Marines at the back and not getting to that one too easily in the mineral line. So that fends it off with the Marines and Marauders reinforcing and cleaning up some creep in the middle of the map. So essential here for DeMuslim.
Yeah, if you're not going to go for the drop play, if you want to go for the very heavy parade push, as you had mentioned, it's very important to shove the creep back so that you can get a sieged position on the base. The Banelings, the speed upgrade is not done just yet, trying to get on top of the Bioforce. He shoves him back, though. Most of this does get cleaned up. DeMuslim has a little bit left over, however.
Yeah, we'll be able to kill off that Queen if he's careful, picking up a few units. Oh, perfect. Those Banelings wasting themselves on that Marauder, not doing that extra damage that they really want.
Yeah, very nice control from DeMuslim to keep the Marines alive, and he can continue to pressure these Queens. We do finally have Mutalisks coming out. Should be enough to overwhelm this very small squadron. He's scanning to kill the tumors, but look, Kalaris, more and more units making their way down that map, that parade push, as you'd mentioned.
Yeah, that bio just kind of cruise across this map here, and he is shutting down a lot of this creep already, but unfortunately for him, he will need to even drop more scans to actually clean that up fully. Zerglings and Banelings still morphing in and looking to hold this position. TLO's supply actually, you know, I think it's pretty good. As long as he gets maybe 1 or 2 Baneling connections, I think he should be okay here.
Yeah, especially considering that DeMuslim's combat shield finished very late. There's still an opportunity here before it does finally wrap up that he could get a very nice detonation on these forces. There's still a little bit of creep spread. Even though he's killed off the tumors, it still takes a little while to dissipate. And he's trying to push up this ramp very carefully. The Banelings with this choke point can cause a catastrophic amount of damage.
No, Banelings try and roll in here. Some of those units are left at the front, so the Banelings don't get the ample connections that they want, but they actually killed off quite a bit at the very back there. The Mutalisks just need to swing to the front, kill off some of the Marines, and then there's not actually that many Marines left there. Just Marauders doing quite a bit of damage. 5 Marines in total, he can clean that up, I think.
Yeah, the Marauders, of course, can't really deal with the mutants, but those few Marines with those medevacs, they have a lot of firepower behind them. The +2 upgrades are actually coming close for both players, but he's forcing these drones away. He can't mine at this hatchery. The Mutalisks want to shove this back. He wants to keep the base alive so he can resume mining. And now, the Mutalisks get on top of everything.
Oh, he didn't get that one Widowman. He tried to get it before it burrowed, but he did get a good connection on those Mutalisks, trying to kill off the reinforcing Marines, and those Banelings do end up killing that Marauder as well as the Widowmine by proxy. And now, well, DeMuslim's not going to give it up, man. He's just going to keep pushing across this map as relentlessly as possible.
And I mean, TLO's done a great job being aggressive, moving the Queens out to keep the creep on the field. But this next push that's coming up, players, he has the combat shield ready. There's 20 new Zerglings in production. The 2-2 upgrades are done. The +3 immediately starts for DeMuslim. Without a hive, TLO can't get any more. So he's just going to try to surround this force, gets a couple nice Baneling detonations, and there's enough Mutalisks to shove this back for now.
Yeah, he should be able to deal with that. The Widowmine's causing a little bit of a problem, though. Wonder still does have its charge. The Zerglings try and focus down on it, and it doesn't get too much damage done. Zerglings, Banelings, and Mutas will completely overwhelm this force in the middle of the map. And during all of this, TLO did a very, very clever thing and a very, very useful thing. He actually managed to sneak in an infestation pit during it all. So he can now start his hive, get up to those upgrades. We have +3 weapons on the way for DeMuslim, but TLO won't be as behind as a Zerg normally is in those upgrades.
That's a very interesting point to bring up. The infestation pit, it's one of those upgrades where it's one of those buildings where when you're trying to hold off these pushes from the Terran player, you need to spend a lot of your gas getting the Mutalisks to stop drops, to kill off the medevacs, getting Banelings to kill those Marines. But if you can make that little bit of an investment to get it in while you're holding that off, it's very nice. With that, I mean, DeMuslim will still have the lead with the upgrades,
of course,
but TLO won't be behind as long or as much as Zerg players generally tend to at this point in the game.
Yeah, if you see a Terran just pressuring through the middle of the map and constantly being so strong about their control and their parade push, then it's very, very hard for a Zerg to normally sneak that in. But TLO managed, and that's going to pay off for him later on if he's able to continually hold this. DeMuslim does have a nice spread here, but the Zerglings and the Mutas still overwhelming him. TLO is playing this very, very nicely, and DeMuslim's Marines have to be so careful about these engagements.
And the Widowmine's not actually doing too much for the Terran player. Only a few Banelings, but with so many forces here, TLO is really starting to swarm over DeMuslim, trying to morph Banelings on his side of the field. And at the same time, he's done a great job of keeping his creep spread up, all the while TLO bringing this incredible amount of pressure, continuing to just pump out units behind this. He has a 5th base on the way back home, and DeMuslim, he's in a little bit of trouble going for a drop at TLO's 4th.
I like that, especially if he can try and, get a few drone kills, maybe even try and focus down the Spire if there isn't those units back there to really help that out. As he does try and move into a better position, those Mutalisks trying to clean that up as well. So they will push that away, focusing down the medevac, very important, denies the retreat path, and just going to clean everything up with the Zerglings.
And the Mutalisks helping, making sure no medevacs escape. We have the Ultralisk Cavern on the way, Kalaris, that highest level basically of tech for the Zerg against this Bioforce. Marines don't do too much. Now, DeMuslim has been trickling in Marauders. Very good versus the Ultralisks, but if TLO can get out enough of them, it's going to become very difficult without making a heavier switch in his production. All the while, he's trying to push this creep back, but DeMuslim hasn't really been able to get close to any bases ever since his initial push at that 4th, and here the Mutalisk count is so big, DeMuslim really needs to be careful about his own 4th base.
Yeah, especially since DeMuslim has not spotted that base to the left as well, which is primarily going to be set up for TLO just to start that gas income, just so that he can fuel the economy required for those Ultralisks. The 3-3 with chitinous plating on the way as well. He's going to get this planetary fortress with Mutalisks alone, but meanwhile, DeMuslim is on the counter.
Yes, trying to break into that 4th base up. TLO, he's setting up the ramp. The Banelings trying to support. Needs to be very careful of these Widowmines. That damage is incredible what they can do to these clumped up units. The Spawn Collar's helping as well to shove these Marauders back, doing that bonus damage. But he's still keeping the majority of his forces alive. Does spend a few more Banelings on these Marauders. DeMuslim's gotten some pretty effective trades versus those. The supply, however, very even. Important to note, though, that the +3-3 is done for the Terran player. Now that the Mutalisks have arrived, is TLO going to go for it? He will.
Oh, Mutalisks have to be very careful. 2 of the Widowmines do end up ended up connecting with those. There's not that much bio left here, though, as he will have to fall back for a second. And all of these fallbacks and retreats and kind of delays in DeMusliM's attacks are meaning that the Ultralisks are about to come out. They're about to be a very, very large thorn in DeMusliM's side.
Now, there are 2 Ultras on the field. 3 more are about to come out, as you said. The +3/3 is coming in. The Chitin is putting a couple good Widowmine shots, helping to thin the crowd out just a tiny bit, but the supply is still so close. DeMusliM realizing now that there are Ultralisks on the field. What is he going to do to prepare for this?
What a fantastic engagement by TLO there. He actually went around those few Widowmines that were there for so long, realizing they were there just as they were about to pop, cleans those up with minimal losses to those, and now DeMuslim's trying to keep his opponent back on the right-hand side, trying to drop that. But that engagement by TLO, I can't emphasize how good that was in the negation of that damage.
And still not able to pick off this hatchery. TLO's been able to build up his number of bases with no problem, while his Mutalisks deny additional economy for DeMusliM. He's continuing to press out on the field. I really like how DeMuslim's got his Widowmine spread so much in the center, but now we have a big drop pressing towards the 3rd base, actually picking off a good number of these drones. Immediately tries to boost away with the Medivacs, but he does need to be careful because those Mutalisks are right in behind.
Well, with that boost away, he actually now finds that 5th base down to the bottom left-hand corner. This is great. There's even a few drones transferring over there. Yes, the Mutalisks will end up cleaning this up, but it's nice to just know that that base exists. Of course, he would have thought that a 5th base existed, but now he's found it. Now he has the ability to try and shut that down. DeMuslim's on the retreat in the middle of the map. More Ultralisks are on the way. He needs an army to combat 8 Ultralisks. That's a lot of meat that he has there.
I mean, he's made the production switch. He has 7 Marauders right now. He's producing 3 at a time. Still putting out Marines because these Mutalisks remain a constant threat no matter what army composition he has. But with an increase in Marauders, with the Widowmines, able to potentially pick off the Zerglings and Banelings that are accompanying these Ultralisks, if he gets an opportunity to kite him off of creep, the Marauders can do a tremendous amount of damage to TLO's army.
They certainly can. TLO now on the warpath, moving into a position to once again try and deny his opponent's 4th base. He knows that there's going to be Widowmines there to try and soak up anything, so sends the Zerglings forwards and soaks one up. This army is very, very beefy here from TLO.
Yeah, he's coming in now. He's baited a couple of the shots. The Ultralisks beginning to press in. There's a good Bioforce here for DeMusliM trying to hold on, stepping back, and a lot of this firepower going through, but tracing down these Ultralisks. Very nice control from TLO. DeMusliM being able to fight off of creep, though. He's getting a relatively efficient trade.
Despite there not being too many Lings or Banelings or anything like that in that engagement, DeMusliM was still pushed back. The Ultralisks survive, but DeMusliM does also live for now. He's got his 4th base established once again down to the bottom left-hand corner. He's flying this one elsewhere. Oh, he alt-tabbed. Oh, well. And there's a lot more Zerglings as well as Ultralisks on the way here for TLO. So his army right now is still looking very, very strong. He has a good gas income as well. He's still up at around 800 per minute against DeMuslim's what? They're very, very lacking, but he's very heavy in minerals in terms of that investment to the army.
Yeah, I mean, the minerals are really what he needs to continue being investing. Loading up a ton of Medivacs. DeMusliM decides to immediately unload them. These Mutalisks, be so careful. A couple of Widowmine shots, picking off a few of those Mutalisks. Very difficult to deal with them, constantly fluttering around. But he's really thinning the Mutalisk count out. There's only 6 on the field.
Yeah, he even has pathogen glands going on the way now, as well as some infestors coming out. So that means that he can start locking some of this army down. Great synergy between that lockdown and those Ultralisks to just be able to cleave away at those units whilst they just can't move. But at the same time, TLO, you know, I actually think maybe a 6th base at some point wouldn't be a bad idea for him here, because that base over there on the left-hand side is where we're going to see the focal point of DeMuslim's attacks eventually. And if he loses that, he's not going to have much more economy left over.
Yeah, it really eventually comes down to just having those bases together, because he hasn't been able to kill too much of TLO's economy. He's killed some drones here and there, not able to pick off too many bases, but TLO himself has done a reasonable amount of damage back to him, and he's just trying to set up these Widowmines, keeping the Widowmines basically within range of each other, but barely, so that he can retreat behind them, use them for cover to pick off the Banelings, and also try to whittle down the health on those very powerful Ultralisks.
TLO does know where his opponent's army is, so he's making sure that he's set up to greet that army if it wants to push in. He actually pokes forwards again just to make sure exactly where he knows where it is. Those Banelings move forwards. Widowmines don't really kill off too much there, as the Ultralisks will move back for now. Because they just don't have anything to tank for them, right? And actually losing that one Ultralisk, maybe a second one? No, it's going to get away. He doesn't want to be losing any of those. They're very expensive.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where TLO doesn't have a massive bank and he's not maxed out. He has the income, but he needs to make effective trades. We see a surround the right side. Ultralisks and Infestors with a few Mutalisks. Ultralisks and Banelings on the left side. Can he break him?
Oh, some good fungals will land on all of that bio army, and that's completely locked down. TLO moves in, crushes that, and picks up a few of these units. DeMusliM has to back out from this point on. He's left this position completely vulnerable. Banelings are going to connect with some SCVs down to the bottom left-hand corner as well here. And oh dear me, DeMusliM, he goes down in supply.
He's taken a rough fight. He did manage to bring reinforcements in and take out a lot of what was left from the Zerg force, but still, the Ultralisks live. The Widowmines get a couple of parting blows, but conditional Zerglings coming out. Ultralisks still, 4 more Infestors. TLO has everything he needs, and he's still expanding behind this. At the same time, however, DeMusliM was able to land this command center. He needs to protect this base with his life.
He certainly does. Despite the supplies being very much in TLO's favor, the majority of that is in drones. So the armies are going to go blow for blow, trade for trade. DeMusliM needs to micro back and keep himself well defended against that big crushing force of those Ultralisks, but he's using the terrain to his advantage. He's using that choke point to really make it hard for those Ultralisks to ever engage that until the Zerglings and Banelings come in from the back. The Fungal as well, locking that down. A great move there by TLO.
The timing on that Fungal could not have been better. Kalaris also manages to grab these medevacs, could try to lock these in and use Infested Terrans to clean them up, but the command center gets destroyed. He's shoving the turning back. He's up 160 supply to 86. TLO is running over DeMusliM right now. GG.
And ladies and gentlemen, TLO is victorious in this show match. DeMusliM put up a good fight, but in the end, TLO, and I have to say, I think it comes back to how quick that infestation pit went down. If you didn't have those Ultralisks out there, that mid game would have been so much more prolonged.
Yeah, it really, it's pretty much the biggest point in Terran versus Zerg. As a Zerg player, you don't want to sit on the Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk forever, unless you're maybe curious playing against Flash, but unfortunately, DeMusliM was not able to keep that higher tech away. And once the Ultralisk team out, that game just went so far in TLO's favor.
He did very well for himself, but again, DeMusliM fought valiantly there, trying to bring the pressure through the middle. But now, guys, we can send it over to an interview with our players and Paul Red-Eye Chandler.
Thank you very much. Firstly, TLO, I don't know whether to say congratulations or not, but good game.
Well, okay, thank you, I guess.
Well, he all tabbed out.
Well, I mean, if you can't even get your settings right in the begin with, I think that's part of the skill too, right?
Yeah, okay. So Ben, I can talk to Intel. They can disable the Alt-Tab.
Good.
That was brilliant. Alt-Tab micro, though. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, like I don't know what happened when I Alt-Tabbed. The screen went black for a good 10 seconds, and when I came back, it seemed to be going okay still, but yeah, Dario played well.
All right, well, good. Well done. I want to talk to you about the laptops that you played on as well. These Intel Iris Pro graphics laptops. They're extraordinary pieces of kit because they're light and flexible and powerful as well. So how did you find the performance?
You know, I find it really good. I played on an XMG that's pretty much exactly the same, but just weighs a little bit more. So yeah, these laptops are incredibly good, incredibly light, very small, and it ran on medium graphics perfectly fine. So yeah, got nothing bad to say about it at all.
Awesome. TLO, they are very light, also very powerful, which is obviously a great thing for you. How do they fit into a pro gamer's life for you?
Well, actually, it's basically perfect for me to have a small laptop like that runs StarCraft perfectly, especially if you're going to be watching a lot of replays on your traveling to try to prepare for your tournaments. And being able to have a pretty powerful laptop that can still run the game on ×2 and ×4 and even ×8 in the replay, and I checked it and can do that, is really helpful for me.
Well, good. We've got a bit of a surprise, actually. Oh, hello. We plan some of these things, and some things we don't plan. That was what?
You're pretending like it's not planned.
Okay, all right, thanks, Dario. We also have a bit of a surprise for you two, actually. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Intel Desktop Marketing Manager, Mr. Mark Chang. Hey Mark, how you doing? So Mark's got the laptop with him as well, so we can show off the laptop. It's a really nice bit of kit. Obviously, he's not going to hand it to me, because otherwise I'd drop it. Mark, firstly, great show match.
Yeah, no, that was great. We really thank ESL for this. We thank the players. You guys really like the laptops, huh? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and let you keep them, both of you. Go ahead, take them home. Now you can stream and game from anywhere in the world on your new CyberPower laptop. Yours is in the booth. But there's another bonus. We're also giving the winner, TLO, an Intel SSD. All these already have an Intel SSD in them, but the winner gets an additional one thanks to our Intel SSD team.
All right, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, that's awesome. They both get a laptop each, and you get an extra SSD. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Tell us about the laptop a bit more.
All right, so we're really excited about this. This is the first time ever that we've had a professional gaming match on Intel Iris Pro graphics. And the folks at Intel have been working very, very hard to get you really great graphics so that you have the ability to watch, game, and create. So what that means is you get to watch video in up to 4K resolution, which is awesome. You get to play games in full 1080p like StarCraft, like we just saw here. And you get to do all your content creation as well. So you can get to edit video in 4K on this laptop right here. And the really cool thing too is, does anybody here stream? Anybody stream? Yeah, that's right. So we've been working very closely with Twitch to optimize their service for our QuickSync video. So what does that mean? You enable QuickSync video and it drops your CPU utilization way, way down, giving you a smoother stream. That gives you more resources on your CPU to use for the game. Really awesome. So just by enabling QuickSync video on Twitch, bam, all of a sudden you get smoother streams, better gaming. And the cool thing is, you get to do that all on this super thin and light notebook. So this is the CyberPower Zeus Hercules, 4 pounds light, up to 6 hours of battery life. I mean, you guys can fly back to wherever you guys are from, and you'll still have battery power to save. And this is using the Intel quad-core i7 processor with Intel Iris Pro graphics. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well. Mark Chang, everyone, thank you. And thank you once more to TLO and to DeMusliM. Next up, we have the Intel Extreme Masters semi-finals. Naniwar is here to take on Spider-Hyun. Who's going to win it? We'll find out in just 15 minutes' time. We'll see you then.
Professional-grade communication tool. The choice of professional teams. Perfect stream viewing experience. Chosen by online streamers. Easy to use voice messenger service. Chosen by over 12 million gamers.
Communication is always vital when competing in tournaments. Winning a match requires perfect coordination. You cannot win by yourself.
Raid Call. Communication for winners.